Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's Burst of Innovation on this Monday. We'll officially get started in 1 minute. We've got people joining from all across the globe, so we want to give them a chance to do so. But welcome, welcome. It's so good to see you all. I just want to remind us all that these bursts of innovation, the point of these is to ignite our week, to kickstart our week, to give us a fresh perspective and an innovative lens to look through. So we're here together on this Monday, whether you're joining me on the Zoom or we're connecting on the comment section or you're watching us live on LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever you are, just as a reminder that this is 10 minutes to get more out of the rest of your week, to work smarter, be more innovative, more productive, see opportunities you might be missing, solve problems, bring your best self to everything that you do, to build high-performing teams to go further faster. So 10 minutes, sometimes I go over, but 10 minutes on the front end for a wealth of innovation on the back end. And I think those of you who have been with me for a while can tell everybody else that the value of these is compounding, right? It's a little every week that adds and adds and adds and adds. So let's add to this week. Welcome to this week's Burst of Innovation. This week, we are talking about how you cause friction with your team. So all of us have something that's really important, and that is the ability to innovate. We're all everyday innovators. What our neuroscience, what behavioral mechanics, what change principles, what all of this shows us is that we all have the ability to innovate. But how we do it is unique to each of us. And that diversity of thinking, that diversity of everyday innovator styles is one of a team's greatest competitive advantages. The key is in understanding how the diversity of people on your team add value, but also cause friction. And the friction side is what we're going to focus on today. And before I show you some kind of tactical and real world examples of it, I want to share a story of an everyday innovator in our community. In fact, I was just doing this video for our online toolbox for people who are in our community. And her name is Sarah. And Sarah is a futuristic inquisitive. That's her everyday innovator style. That's her power trigger, her strength, her wealth of innovation. So on the value side, as a futuristic and inquisitive, the futuristic side brings tremendous value in being able to take today's problems and turn them into tomorrow's opportunities, to be able to see the forest through the trees, to be able to think 10 steps ahead of the impact of something. How valuable is that? And the inquisitive side is all about digging deep and challenging assumptions and asking those questions that pull the layers of the onion back and back and back to find that meaningful innovation. So don't we all want someone like Sarah on our team who can push us forward and also dig and get us to think differently? Of course we do. But until Sarah and her team understood her everyday innovator style, that value is getting lost. In fact, what Sarah told me, she felt like an unrecognized cog in the wheel. So that's part one. In understanding her everyday innovator style and her team understanding, they were able to understand what she brings to the table, how to leverage her, how to help her bring out her best, her highest self, how to collaborate with her in a way. Now she's feeling incredibly valued and incredibly heard. Now let's go to the flip side of this, which is the friction. Some people on the team felt a little bit of friction with Sarah because that futuristic side isn't grounded in today. It wants to go to tomorrow. And some people are like, hey, but we got to figure out what's happening right now, what's going on in this situation. And Sarah's off in tomorrow, right? The inquisitive side, because it's all about innovation, the questions, not the answers. And some of you who are on here, I know who have inquisitive know what I'm talking about. Sometimes you get seen as challenging people, as being disruptive, as poking the bear because, well, they're done and they've made statements. You're like, but why? But how come? Right? So really powerful. But if you don't understand that need to challenge causes friction with other people. You're seen as a disruptor and not in a good way. So when the team understood this about Sarah, that first of all, it's not that she's ignoring today, it's that she is pushing forward. And she's actually helping the team marry the two if they actually come together with their different strengths. And this need for her to ask questions isn't actually challenging anyone. It's actually just challenging ideas and thinking. It's not personal. She's not poking the bear. She's actually thinking. She's innovating. And understanding that about her and the team were able to gel. They were able to come together to collaborate and move forward. So understanding not just how we add value so that others can recognize that and know how we do that, how we bring that to the table, but also that those friction points can actually be advantage points if we understand them. So I want to show you and give you some other examples. Let me pull up my screen here. This is a PDF from our toolbox about how you add value and cause friction. And so I'm going to throw myself under the bus and use myself as an example. I'm a risk taker and experiential. So if you go down here to this green, the second to last, the risk taker in me, right, where I cause friction with other people is I tend to make them uncomfortable. I can be seen as pushing people too hard. I think people on my team over here are nodding at me. Yep. Yeah. I can be seen as moving too quickly, too soon, maybe even being too spontaneous or reckless, right? Because the risk taker me is all about innovating in the uncomfortable, pushing small ideas, making them bolder, right? Like that's actually the value I bring. That value causes friction, right? I make other people uncomfortable because I look like I'm carelessly leaping. The experiential side of me, because I'm all about innovation in motion, right? The value is I can make things real for people and I can get things unstuck, right? I tend to put things into action. The friction I cause, though, is people can sometimes feel like I'm moving too fast. Like, Tamara, slow down, think it through, whoa, or I'm too impulsive, right? I can make other people feel left behind because while they're still thinking about it, I've already taken action. Now, here's the thing, though, with my team. My team understands this about me. So what we've learned to do is use those friction points as advantage points. So my team knows when they're stuck, when they can't figure out how to move something forward, I'm the one they want to go to because I'm going to figure out how to take action and then I'm going to innovate in that action. Or if the ideas are too incremental, too small, they know that that uncomfortable feeling I'm going to give them is actually me pushing all of us forward. I've also come to understand that, for example, if I'm dealing with someone who's an inquisitive or collaborative, my need to like go is going to bump up against their need to think it through, pull disparate ideas and people together, ask some questions, right? So we can actually meet in the middle where they can slow me down a little bit and I can speed them up a little bit. Do you see the difference here? So if you're a fluid, for example, you bring value by keeping people nimble and helping people figure out how to navigate sticky and messy situations. But sometimes people see you as creating too many options, looking distracted and disorganized to others. Sometimes you're hard to follow because that mess is clear for you, but it's not clear for others. Imagine if people understood that about you. Imagine if people understood your friction points so they could turn them into advantage points. Friction is okay. I'm not opposed to constructive conflict. In fact, I think it's really important to innovation and to teamwork. It's important to a company, to anybody trying to push anything forward. But we need to understand that friction so we can actually leverage it, not ignore it or hide it. I think oftentimes what I see in organizations that come together is that friction actually pushes people away. So they end up siloed, they end up avoiding collaboration, they end up not working together. But when you understand that friction is just differences in perspective and innovator styles that you can actually leverage, you lean into that friction. All right. Take a screenshot of this if you haven't already. It's on, for those of you who are members, it is on our toolbox. So go get it and go leverage it. Here's what I love to do with this. First of all, I love it to understand myself. But even more than that, I love to then take it to my teams and I say, hey, let's have this conversation about how we innovate. Everybody gets their innovator style. How do we innovate? How do we add value? How do we leverage each other's value? And what are our friction points? And what are we going to do in those moments when we have friction? What am I going to do when Carolyn's frustrating me because she's an inquisitive and her need to ask questions is annoying because I just want to leap and go and figure it out? Like, how are we going to handle that? And now that I know that, maybe it's on me to go to Carolyn to say to her, hey, Carolyn, ask me 10 really challenging questions. I'm not thinking through this whole idea. I'm missing something. We're all missing something. We all need other people. Okay. How we cause friction can either pull us apart or it can actually bring us together. So my question for you as we close this out is, what's your one aha? What have you learned from this burst of innovation that you're going to take in this week? Put one sentence or a phrase in the chat bar or in the comments and I'll go get it and look at it. Okay, let me see. So Zach says, wow, I've realized that I'm avoiding people that I should be leaning into. I'm going to start doing that. Good for you, Zach. That's a huge insight, by the way, because that is exactly what happens, right? We avoid them because their difference is hard. They're not us, right? So it's hard for us to know what to do with. And by the way, Zach, thank you. That is human nature, isn't it? Right? We are. It's more comfortable for us around like-minded people who come from our same perspective. Of course, it is, and we know that we need diversity of thinking and experience to move forward, but we don't know how to handle it. So what this tool does, this everyday innovator style, our assessment and things like understanding value and friction, what it does is it helps us lean into that friction and understand how to use that diversity as a platform for success versus something that actually hinders or sabotages innovation. All right. Casey says, my whole team has the everyday innovator styles. I'm going to bring this to my team and we're going to have this conversation. Thank you. We needed this right now. Excellent. Great conversation to have with your team. So insightful what's going to come out of it. I love it. All right, everybody. I've actually held myself to just about 10 minutes for once. I'm usually so far over because I have so many things I want to connect with you guys on. Thank you so much for joining me. What an honor to be with you every week. Hey, I want to remind you, if you're on Zoom, we connect in the comment section. If you're on LinkedIn or Facebook, in the comments on those platforms, I'll go and look at them. Part of the reason I like people being registered on Zoom is that it then puts it in their calendar. And I think I have to create a new one, by the way, for those of you who've been on for a while, I have to create a new series and I will add you to it. But if you're out there and you're like, hey, tomorrow I want to be on the Zoom thing, just put it on the comment section and I will shoot you a link to be able to register there where you can actually get it in your calendar so that you don't miss them or hope that you're on LinkedIn or Facebook in the moment where they pop up. Every Monday, 9 a.m. Mountain Time. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. And if you have a topic you want us to discuss, you let me know and we'll get to it. There won't be one next week of the 4th of July. Have an amazing